Welcome to Elks 101. Another episode of Elks Central, breaking this one down.
Reagan, touchdown Edmonton! Fajardo, Dunbar, back on top go the Elks!
Okay, welcome in Elks Central, May 22nd. Declan, Eddie, and Rick with you on this one ahead of the Elks' first preseason game of the season tomorrow, 2 p.m. out in Langford as they take on the Lions. On today's show, we're going to be doing our full season preview, expectations, ceilings and floors for different position groups. Really, I think this is the last chance we're all going to have together. I'm going to be missing the next 4 podcasts here, so this is the last chance we're going to have to really break down the season as a whole and as is, as it was. Is this camera good? It looks pointed.
It looks a little down. But I can tell from the side here we're looking all right.
All right,
you're all in there.
Okay, all right. I had to ask. I was like, we're getting a lot of Eddie's knees on this one, but all right.
No, from the side it looks like we're all right.
All right,
Yeah,
dope.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
okay, all right. We'll keep flying with it. Before we get into this season preview, let's jump into some intros. How are we doing?
I'm doing fantastic this morning. Beautiful morning out here in Edmonton.
What a day!
Ooh, it's a good start.
I got my flowy pants on. Fit the weather.
Got to be loose, right?
Yep.
Got to be able to breathe. It's been a good week. Friday, Elks playing tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
CFL football is back here in the city
Back. We can
for
stream
the
it.
city.
There's excitement. So no, overall, all is well. All is well.
Let's start with that one. For this first preseason game, because I do want to get to the season as a whole and talk, like I said, different position groups, expectations for the whole team, ceiling, floor, things like that. But for this preseason game, I guess twofold question. First, walk us through, because again, spoiler alert, me and Rick never played in the CFL. So walk us through what this first preseason game kind of looks like, obviously for the different level groups, like for your wily vets who are top 10 paid in the league or whatever it is, for your rookies trying to crack the team, for maybe Canadian, like whatever it may be. And then second, what's kind of the immediate feeling like after that first game?
Yeah, well, first of all, these boys are lucky. They're leaving for BC today after their walkthrough. I've played in many a preseason game where you fly out the day of the game.
It's tough.
Just because it's preseason, so they want to keep
Save some
that
money.
expense. Exactly. They're not looking to pay for hotels and whatnot for guys they're just going to cut the next day pretty much. So it's nice that the organization is doing the right things by the players by getting them out a day early to put them in the best position to have success. Now, from the player point of view, look, when you're first entering the league, you check that. You always want to put out good tape. You always want to put out good tape. But I could care less about if I won or lost a preseason game. The thing I cared about, did I go out, have my 2-3 tackles? Did I have some good pass rushes on some guards? And do I look good on tape? That's what I cared about. It wasn't the overall outcome. Now, this club,
And that differs from regular season. Like regular season,
certainly.
you want
Regular season, it matters.
You want the
Preseason,
dub,
it does. You're trying to get through unscathed and uninjured. Now, that's a player's perspective. From the organization perspective, from the fan base, you do want to see the win, right? You want to come out, you want to have good vibes, good mojo going into the regular season. It matters a little bit more. Players, though, you could care less, and especially the older you get in the league, the more preseason, it just doesn't matter. Again, you want to put out good tape, you want to get your couple of good reps in, but that's about it. But I think this preseason game, because where the team was at in the past, the slow starts, I think they're going to come out and try and be on fire, come out and have good rhythm on offense. And I think what I said to Kevin Karras this morning was, you're going to see a little bit of that nasty, I hope they look to establish. Coulter Woodmansey laying out, who was it? Kenny Logan on the sideline in practice. I want to see some of that nasty. I want to see Carter O'Donnell play with that nasty tenacity. And I think this is a chance for them to really establish that. So more than anything, what I want to see out of this Double E team on the weekend, I don't care if you win or lose. I want to see this identity, and I want to see them come out and play some filthy ball.
One thing I wanted to, Coach Killam didn't scrum yesterday, but one of the things I wanted to ask him is, like, obviously, you know, this is very cutthroat for a lot of the players, like no tomorrow kind of thing. And it's, you know, a preseason game, but it's also a preseason game for the coaches. Like, how much of what the coaches are running, offensive and defensive coordinators, how much is it? It's just like, this is our core installs. Like we're going to iron out what we have here with what we're going to be working with. And how much of it is going to like page 18 of the playbook?
It'll be pretty vanilla. Yeah, it'll be pretty vanilla just because you have so many, as much continuity as there is, Deck. There's so many new bodies still learning concepts and schemes, and timing with each other. You can't go deep in the bag when you got a second string quarterback dealing with a third string wide receiver. You know what I mean? There's just no timing to even give you the opportunity to pull out those types of plays, right? So it's going to be pretty vanilla. Try and chunk up first downs being, 10-yard digs, 12-yard digs, slants. It'll be short stuff like what you've seen at practice. I hope Max Simic opens it up to a degree, but I have this feeling that is who this offense is going to be.
I think you're right. And like, I know people have they've kind of talked about, hey, can we open up the playbook this year? Can we move it down the field a little bit? And I'm like, I don't know if we can, guys. Like, I think, right. Like the personnel here kind of suggests.
And like, I mean, you're
this
pretty famous for how that there's not a lot of juice.
Yeah.
Right. There's 30 yards accurate. Other than that 30 threshold, there's not a lot of deep.
And one thing I've kind of been wondering is like Austin and Cody had such a great connection 3 years ago. And like, I wonder if Austin kind of came in and was thinking it was just going to pick up where it left off. And it was like, hey, those, when I was able to get downfield on my post and my flags, like I was going to be there and the ball was going to be there. But now you've got, Cody's 3 years older and maybe the ball's not getting there quite the way it used to 3 years ago when you were in Montreal.
If it does get there, it takes a little longer.
Yeah. Like, I just wonder how that's kind of like weighed on Austin, if at all. Like, this is all speculation, but I wonder how much it's weighed on Austin and him being like, oh, I thought this would be a little more like it used to.
Well, I'm on the record for saying 5K passing yards, so it better open up a bit.
Let's jump into that. Let's talk. I want to talk. So what I want to do is bounce this off you guys. I'm going to go position group by position group, go kind of expectations, ceiling, floors, like I've talked about. You'd think I lost a bet where I got to work ceiling and floor into the podcast a certain amount of times, how much I've said it in the first like 9 minutes here. And then I want to kind of do a overall season overview, like for the Elks team. But let's start with the quarterback. So expectations you can restrict it to Cody. You can talk about the entire quarterback room. And then again, like what is kind of maybe the bottom end expectation and the top end ability.
Put out stats, put a grade on it.
Just get like quick
little synopsis.
Just some thoughts. Yeah, like a synopsis.
Like there we go. My expectation is it'll be a more fluid offense than what we've seen when Trey Ford was at the helm. It's not going to be a game-breaking offense, I don't believe. They'll have their good plays. The game-breaking plays will come via Rank. Hopefully, Leak hits some more home runs this year. He didn't really pop home runs. Rank had some home runs.
Did the return game, but not.
Yeah. I'm talking offensively. Get involved in some sets. And then passing-wise, look, I said 5, and we know that's inflated. But I think Cody could, if he finds his game, I think he could go for like mid 45, something like that.
Over 4. I was thinking over 4.
I really think he can if he finds that stride, because they have the receivers with the bodies that they have, the size that they have. If there's a solid run game, because they have it all starts up front, an O-line now. I think that these receivers, there could be multiple 1,000-yard receivers. I really do. Look at what Keon, who led the team last year? Was it Keon at 800? Okay. So I'm automatically thinking, barring injury, Austin Max.
He might have left 200 on the board on drops.
Oh, we know he did. He did drops. I'm going Austin Max automatically at 1,000. Like he's penciled in for your 1,000. And I'm thinking if Keon can build off of that, plus some of the other names, Ben Victor, OJ Hilaire.
Joe Robustelli's a guy who could show up out of nowhere with like 1,100 yards.
Exactly.
You're like, whoa. Slot. He's got the type of stat line where you're like, whoa, 1,100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
like that's
totally.
Right?
In 9 of those 1,100 yards, 900 of them were first down possessions.
Exactly. Rick, what about you? Kind of the overall synopsis for the quarterback room, if you want to restrict it to Cody.
I don't know really what to expect from the guys behind him. Hopefully, we won't see a lot because that means Cody's in for the majority of it. When it comes to Cody, though, I'm looking for efficiency. I'm looking for, and I know it's not going to be fun, but it doesn't have to be the massive plays, but we need to move the ball down the field. And if that means sometimes you're 2 and outs because whatever, fine. But he needs to be probably a top half quarterback, like he's got to be no more than 5 or 6 for this team to be successful. We can definitely lean on the running backs a lot, but you've got a quarterback here who's been around, done it. And I think if he can get the ball to some of the receivers, it opens up the rest of the running game. And that could really open up the offense from what we've seen comparatively over the last couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Deck, I want to get your synopsis, but then just going to throw this question back at both of you guys. What do you think Cody's mobility is going to be like? Being a little bit older, that's been a viable asset to his game is his mobility.
And he throws on the run.
On the run well. Do you think that will play into effect this season?
Yeah, like so, I guess I don't have huge worries for it because his mobility has always kind of been like an Aaron Rodgers-esque mobility. Like it's never been Lamar Jackson or Michael Vick. Like he's never been that kind of quarterback. It's just been a escapability in the pocket. And I still think we'll have that. Like as far as Cody, I think a 4,000 yard season is well in range. I loved what you said. I think there will be more fluidity and continuity to the offense. I don't think it will be kind of as jumbled and inconsistent as it was to start the year with Trey. And then even when Cody came in, like he was kind of fighting the playbook a little bit. Like there was, I don't even want to call it a learning curve. There was like a grace period that we all kind of expected. But I would say at the top end, I think Cody could be a 4,000 yard top 5, top 4 quarterback in the CFL. And I think some of the receivers would elevate him to get to that status. I would say his floor is probably a guy who can be a game manager. And I don't think that's a terrible spot to be. Like that might sound a bit of a dig because sometimes we talk about these quarterbacks and we're like, oh, he's a game manager. He's a game manager. It's not the worst thing in the world to have. And it's especially not the worst thing in the world to have if you have some really talented guys who can build off of that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, listen, fluidity, continuity. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that was a perfect breakdown of what to expect from this Elks offense. And we really like the other thing is, like, yeah, it'd be cool if we could see a Nathan Rourke 40 touchdown, 5,000 yard performance. We also haven't really seen fluidity and continuity like that since Mike Riley. So just getting that, I think, would go leaps and bounds for the Elks. So that'd be my thing.
So Cody, too, in terms of the quarterbacking, he's got one of the highest completion percentages in league history. With an enhanced offensive line, the jury is out on Cody, right? He is kind of a game manager to a degree because he wants to protect that number. So he's not going to throw chance balls and he'll take sacks. Hopefully we see a little more risk. And I think with the improved O-line, there will be less sacks. So that should bode well. Should bode well for Cody and that completion percentage.
Let's talk running back room. I'll start this one off because my ceiling, I'm not going to call it expectations because that's kind of an unfair moniker to put on a guy, but my ceiling for Justin Rankin is league MOP consideration. Now, a lot's going to have to go into this. Like the Elks are going to have to be, you're going to have to be a playoff team or have a winning record. I went back and looked. I don't think there's ever been a league MOP on a team with a losing record. And I think there's only ever been one league MOP on a 500 team. That was Solomon Elamimian back in 2014. So you're going to need team success. Now, the wording of this award, they're very specific in saying most outstanding, not most valuable, which is why I think a guy like Justin Rankin could kind of dip his toes into winning that award. Because most valuable, like you kind of feel like, oh, quarterback's so important. It's quarterback driven. Most outstanding is just who balled out the best. And this is a guy who last year had 1,013 yards rushing, then about 700 yards receiving, 1,700 all-purpose yards, about 100 a game. That is huge for the offense. I think he's going to need to, like, I would imagine the team has to probably come in around 12-6, maybe 11-7, but I'll say like 12-6 just to kind of be safe. And he's going to have to be kind of looking at 2,000 combined with probably like 14 to 15 touchdowns. But I think that's well in his capability. I think it's well in his wheelhouse. I think the improved offensive line is going to do wonders for him. And the one thing I'll say, because we all sat here at the end of last season and gave Justin Rankin our team's MOP deserved. I think everyone in the world who watched the Edmonton Elks, I will say, and Justin Rankin was working against it a little bit. He like it, a little bit's on him though too. Like after a 204-yard game, you can't, you have 27 rushing yards, 34 rushing yards. You had a game with 9 carries for 1 yard. Like I know the offensive line wasn't great, but a little bit like the most outstanding player in the league won't have those, like they'll find a way to overcome those moments and overcome. So more. Exactly. So it's got to be a little bit more, even if you want to call it an ascension right here, whatever it is, it's got to be a little bit more of that. But at his top end ability with how talented and how versatile he is, and I don't really think you can say this for, a whole lot of players on this roster, and that's not being disrespectful. League MOP is the highest individual honor you can get, but Justin Rankin at the top of what he can do can be in that conversation, and I want to see it from him.
And you nailed it, man. Everything you said was very thorough and perfect, in my opinion. On top of the team success that has to come with the MOP, is first thing was the stats, and he needs to go 1,000, and you said 2,000 all purpose, right? So yeah, you got to be over 1,000 rushing, and you got to be over 1,000 receiving to even be in the conversation as a running back, or you got to go for like 1,900 rushing.
Yeah.
Right. Something crazy like that you'd see back in the day.
The one thing I fear is that with an improved receiving core, we're not gonna see those checkdowns to him, which I think is probably. But he is also a guy. So like, if the receiving yards, they might even drop a little bit this year. But if he can bump the rushing number, like I'd like to see both improve, obviously.
Yeah,
but you'd rather see the rushing numbers.
Let him go for 14.
Yeah,
I'd rather him go for 1,400 because it will open up more of the offense.
Like if he goes for 14 and 6 and has 18 TDs, and you're sitting at 2,000 all-purpose yards and a touchdown a game pace, like that's a pretty nice spot to be in. Other running backs, Javon Leake, you touched on him. We want to see him pop. I couldn't agree more. Isaiah Knight, he I've watched him a lot in camp. He runs really, really hard. Like he
big body, huh?
Yeah, huge, but he screams short yardage back. He actually screams fullback dive. I don't think they've put one install of him running a fullback dive. They probably won't. But when I think of him, I'm just like, man, like if I was playing Madden right now and I had it 4th and goal on the 1, I'm subbing him in as my fullback. I'm going strong eye formation and I'm giving him the ball on a fullback dive.
He dives.
Yeah, he's a big body. I think he'll get some short yardage sets. Runs really hard. Looks really tough to tackle. It's also, see a lot of tackling in camp, so it's always a little bit, like harder to touch him and they blow the whistle, whatever.
Totally.
But yeah, I would say those would be, before I toss it to you two, those would be that would be my synopsis for the running back room.
Yeah. Yeah. So everything about rank, right on point. I think in terms of this year, where he'll go, everything you said is good conversation. MOP and this and that, going for 2,000. What I think he's going to do, I think he'll probably rush for around 1,300. He'll probably receive for around 500. Maybe 10 to 12 total touchdowns. I don't think he'll be in the running for league awards or anything like that. I hope, but I don't think so, because
he's the guy on this roster who can do it, though.
For sure he is. It's going to be more balanced, man. And I think that the receivers are going to contribute more.
Sure.
A guy like Keon Julian Grant, he's got to be hungry, right? Knowing how much meat he left on that bone last year, he could have been 1,000-yard guy. So I think the offense in general, another year under Coach Maximic, I think just as a whole, we used the word continuity earlier. I think it's just going to be more well-rounded and well-oiled, you could say. So it's not just going to be a rank focus. Last year it had to be ranked. You talk about him being the team nominee. It had to. Who else would it have been? Like, it had to be. This year,
he was good though. He was good.
Yeah, he was good. Look at the numbers.
You were saying it was like a sympathy award. Like, hey, he balled out.
The team wasn't very good last year. Like, let's just be honest. Call a spade a spade. Still had 7 wins. They had 7 wins the year before.
Yep.
Right.
With an interim head coach.
So, Rank was their best player, but there's more for him. Yeah. But I think as a whole, there's more for the team, and we're going to see that.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Rick, what about you? Your thoughts on the running back room?
Yeah, honestly, I think Rank is probably one of the best in the league at what he does. However, I'd still like to see more double back sets with him and Leak back there.
Great shout.
We watched, there's one play last year where they were both back there, and it made the linebacker hold on for an extra second and allowed Rank to run past him for the touchdown. It is right there. It works. You have a guy in a Leak that can get the job done. He's explosive when he gets the ball. You have no fear putting the ball in that guy's hands. I know he's had a couple of drops here and there, but I don't think it's really an issue for him yet. Behind those two, I really don't know what we got going on, but because they did build up that offensive line the way they did, I do expect them to keep giving the ball to the running backs, especially early in the game. And if they can start to make a name for themselves that way, they're going to eat a lot. And you don't want, especially when you have a guy like Cody who doesn't want to throw the ball deep, try and protect those numbers and whatnot. Keep giving it to your running backs and make it as easy as possible for your quarterback.
I like it. All right, wide receivers. So I'll start. I think we got to have at least one CFL West All-Star in the receiving core. Now, that probably conventional wisdom would suggest that comes in the form of Austin Mack. I think that's probably the safe bet. I think that's probably going to be my pick because I do think he was paid good money to come here. I do think he is the most talented wide receiver. I think he is clearly looked to be Cody's favorite target in camp. And the other thing is he's looked like the best receiver. Like he gets a little bit more separation. He's got a bit more of a catch radius. Like all the kind of his size is good. Guy. Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like it's like if we were all playing one-on-one in basketball, Like we know who the guy is.
Me.
You're looking at him anyway.
You be DMing me up.
Yeah. Pause. But Austin Mack, like I'm just saying, he looks to be that guy. He looks to be that dude. So I don't think a West All-Star nomination should be out of the question. Now, when we look to the receiving room as a whole, you've made the point, like there could be 4,000-yard receivers on this team, or 3 another guy sitting at 800.
I think there'll be at least 2 this year.
Yeah,
with a guy pushing it like 800 and another guy at 5.
There you go. And there were 0 last year. And you look at some of now Keon he's missed a fair good bit of camp here. He's been a little bit nicked up, but you look at his and Cody's chemistry from last year, you would think that's going to carry over into this year. You look at guys you talk about who are great possession receivers, like Joe Robustelli. He's a very good possession receiver. You look at guys who I still think can be impact targets on different, downfield passing sets, and OJ Hilaire and Ben Victor. Like you have guys, I think, and sometimes in the CFL, I think there's another thing, like, especially in this era of the CFL, like a guy doesn't pop until he pops. Like sometimes, and maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think in yesteryear, we would see shades of it and kind of build up to it. And then it'd be like, like 600 yards season, 500 yards season, boom, 1,200 yards season. Now it's just kind of like with the way rosters are constructed, the guy doesn't pop until he pops. And that's not always the case, but I think it certainly is the case more so. And so I think some of these guys who, people may not realize, like they show up to the game like, hey, he was 87. Benjamin Victor, you know what I mean? And then you go out there and you watch when you're like, boom, 1,100-yard, 8 touchdown guy. Yeah. So yeah, listen, to put a kind of bow on it before I toss it to you guys, I think 1 CFL West All-Star should be the expectation. If we want to go 1 CFL All-Star, that'd be great too. A lot of great receivers in the league though, and maybe with some limited downfield passing that pauses that a little bit. But 1 CFL West All-Star, and I'm going to say 3 1,000-yard receivers. And those are my expectations. So I'm putting some pretty high expectations on this receiving core.
Me too. I told you, looking for at least 2 1,000-yard receivers, another high pushing for 1,000, 800, 700 right in there, another guy in the mids, right around 500, 600. So this unit, they need to pop. You're right. You use that term pop. Mac will be the leader. Stay healthy, please. And I don't think if Cody throws for 3,500 yards, that's going to be good enough this season.
Oh, I agree.
So in order for that to take place, you got to have to air it out, and guys are going to have to be involved, and it's going to have to be different than what we've been accustomed to with this organization probably past 6 to 7 years, man. There haven't really had a prolific passing attack. And look, when I say prolific, you don't got to be Trevor Harris in Ottawa with 4,000-yard receivers. Sorry, that was Henry Burris. No, that was Trevor. I believe that was Trevor. But like they had 4 stallions there at receiver. No, you don't have to go like that. But you do have to have major production and guys pushing that 1,000-yard plateau. You do. Multiple guys. And we haven't seen that out of this club since what? Darius Bowman, Darrell Walker? No, I guess Duke Williams and Zylstra.
Yeah, Brandon Zylstra. Yeah,
there was some good years there, right? Post Darius and Darrell Walker. But yeah, it's been a long time, man. Like,
and most people would years. Like most people, if you did like a street interview with like 100 people or 100 Elks fans, like most of them would probably just think of a Darius Bowman as being the last guy who kind of popped like that. Yeah. And this is also, like, to be fair to the receiving core, these are kind of high expectations for Cody, because he's had one 4,000-yard season in his career, was 7 years ago, and he's never thrown for 20 touchdowns. So it's like, it feels like we're putting a high bar. I know it gives you pause, doesn't it? I know, but I still think it's doable. I still think it's doable.
Line too. We'll see.
Yeah. Rick, what about you? Receiving room.
Yeah, I think you're going to see. You're not going to have that one receiver run away with the stats this year.
Oh, okay.
I think you're going to see a bunch of guys all around the same amount of numbers within whatever, a couple hundred, whatever you want to talk about there.
Bunch of 700 to 900.
Exactly. I think you're going to be really watching out for that first receiver. And that's just going to open up everybody else. We know he's not going to be throwing the ball 60, 70 yards down the field, which kind of means you got to be looking for your shorter passes. There's going to be more options there. You're going to have the time, because of the offensive line, to kind of go through your progression, and you're going to get off one. You're going to be looking at 2 and 3 and 4, I think, at that point. Like I said before, I see efficiency here. So I think you're going to have a lot of guys with this in and around the same amount of receptions and yards. I don't think you'll have the one guy run away with everything.
Right. Yeah. Like a 1,400-yard guy, and then the rest are 8 and 6 type.
Yeah, everyone's gonna be relatively
more
close to each other.
consistent.
All right, let's
Man,
talk.
Did you hear my voice crack?
No.
I heard it. I don't
I
think
didn't
my
hear
voice has
anything.
cracked in years.
Yeah,
It's not a
since you
thing
were-
that I do.
Since you were like 9, probably.
Say it with your chest, boy.
All right, now I want to talk a little bit about the offensive line. And I was thinking about this, and I know we're Elks Nation, so I know there's I see the picture every Friday and Monday. So I know there might be a little bit of perceived bias here. I know this isn't Stamps Nation or Riders Nation or Bombers Nation or Lions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think this might be the best offensive line in the league. First of all, you have the highest non-paid quarterback playing one guard and a guy.
So that means, that should equate to that's being the best guard in the league.
Yep.
That should be the best offensive lineman in the league.
Yep.
Okay.
You have another guard who should probably be in the NFL right now.
Fresh off a 3-year NFL stint,
he
should be
probably
in the NFL.
still in the NFL right now.
It's 2 of them.
You have 2 all-star caliber tackles, and you have, now granted it wasn't a great offensive line last year, but you have
So we had Coulter first. Who's your second?
Carter O'Donnell,
Yeah.
was who I was talking about there.
And then you're moving on to
Brendan Bordner and Jordan Murray.
So we'll go
And then-
Murray, just size alone
6'8", 320.
should be
Yeah.
eating up space.
And then
Huge.
to wrap up that point, and I know it wasn't a great offensive line last year, but you have your best offensive lineman from last year as like the weak link on the team playing center in David Beard, presumably.
And by
So-
far the biggest center in the league.
Yeah.
Most centers are, 6'2"-ish.
6'2",
Beardo's
yeah.
a big cat.
Oh,
now.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
An easy 6'5", 310, 320.
Yep.
6'5", 320 is listed.
Yeah.
Yep,
So
there we go.
Beardo is a big center.
So my thing is, like, again, I know there's probably a little bit of bias behind what we say sometimes. I think there's no reason this can't be the best or shouldn't be perceived as the best offensive line in football. And when you have the best offensive line in football, your quarterback has more time to throw the ball. Running lanes open up for your running backs. Just everything becomes smoother and cleaner.
Yeah, the only leaky spot you could see or forecast out of this offensive line group would be out of the tackle positions. If they allow some pressure off the edge, that would be, I think, interior 3 is going to be so secure, so stable. Cody's not going to be facing a lot of A-B gap rushes, man. He's going to have time. It's off the edge that I'm leery of. We'll see it play out. But yeah, as of now, I don't see a better unit just based off those 2 guards alone.
Yeah.
They're tone setters, man.
It's funny because we think like the equivalent of like I just imagine if a couple games there's a lot of pressure coming off the edge there and you got to move like Carter or Coulter, and Coulter doesn't move them out to tackle. That'd be like the Elks equivalent of putting McDry on the same line. Moving those guys out to tackle.
I know. To a degree, you're right.
Yeah, I don't think it'll
putting them
happen.
both on the same side.
Yeah.
Remember the right side last year?
It was tough.
Yeah.
And you know what? Shout out Brett Boyko because he had a pretty good camp this year. He came in.
Nice.
He knew, and the other thing is he knew he wasn't going to be starting, and he still came out and he had a good camp. So, but
and the other, he's not around even in the league.
Offensive line, it's a little bit tougher to quantify. Like we can sit here, we can talk gap responsibilities, we can talk pulling guards, things like that. I always said for a lot of fans, I think offensive linemen they're just good because people tell you they're good. You know what I mean? Like Stanley Bryan, he's just good because everyone told us he was good. That's not obviously entirely fair, but I think that is kind of a general fan perception of it. I think this offensive line could be the best in the CFL.
That's what makes us different, though. We're not just saying they're good. We're going to chop it up and tell you why they're good and bust down film on why they're good.
Yes, we will. Steals reels,
but big ball knower.
Huge ball knower. Huge ball knower.
Big lemon ball.
How funny would it be if I conned my way into this job, Googled football buzzwords before a conversation with Greg, and was like, hey, you know a lot about football, right? I'm like, yeah, I love cover 3.
Well, I'll say this, 1440, it's going to be 3 years.
Yep.
We're both obviously affiliated there. And then this is our spinoff.
Yep.
So, I mean, we're fooling them right some way.
Yeah, it's true. We're
still around, baby.
Yeah,
we're still around.
Shout out. And ball numbers.
And growing.
The funnier part would be if you it was just another guy named Eddie Steele who played in the CFL. It was never you. You just have the same name.
Real con
You've
artist.
just been showing up.
Just
yeah.
a carny.
You talk about being on the alumni board. It's just a different
Just
guy
everything, just
to
a
all the
total
meetings.
carny.
Yeah.
You can't fake these, dog.
Yeah. Hey, facts. Rick, do you have thoughts on the offensive line?
Honestly, I think they've taken a big step forward from what they were last year. I'm not going to sit here and try and compare them to the rest of the league, but just what they were last year and what they are right now, I think the expectations are going to be much, much higher. But my question is, because you do see nicks and scrapes and injuries on the offensive line, so we know their starters are who their starters are. But my question is more about the depth. If we do go have one or two go down, where do they sit at that point? Are you scrambling, or are you confident with the with your number one and number two backups? Because when you were talking about you, Eddie, back in the day when on the defensive line, you guys were rolling guys in and off the field, right? So obviously you were confident with your non-starters. Where does this team sit with their non-starters for offensive line? Because you always end up seeing injuries.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, you're right. You will see. Normally, you wouldn't roll O linemen, but you'll see injuries. Nicks. It's funny because we've been talking about Mark Horty. He's been a hot topic, right? And we haven't been, overly pleasant. There's been some criticism thrown his way. Down at Fan Day, I see one of his family members. His uncle used to be the D-line coach for U of A. I'm pretty tight with him. And yeah, man, it's all like no love lost. Everything's all good. Nothing is big embrace, big hug. People understand. It's just is what it is. So with that being said, go on.
No, I was just gonna say, to give him credit, like after that one bad day of camp where I crushed him a little bit, like he looked good.
Yeah,
he looked good. He was getting first team reps. He looked good. He looked comfortable. He looked good.
So with that being said, and shout out to him for battling.
No doubt.
That's a true pro right there. We talk about depth, and why I bring him up is he's going to be a depth piece. Ed had mentioned that they're not going to cut anybody on salary, but there always has to be a conversation of when you're making a couple $100K right in that ballpark. Do you keep a person around as depth, or do you have that's two bodies you could have on a roster, right? So that's going to be the biggest position, the biggest person. I'm looking to see what happens out of camp. Are you going to be the sixth? Is he going to be outright cut? Like, how is Mark Horty going to be? What's his future on this team? That's what I'm most curious about.
Okay, interesting.
Where do you guys stand with that?
I think his future on the team is probably
on the team.
I would say it's on the team, and I think it's as a backup center or a backup guard. Like, I think he'll also, because he played a lot of left guard last year. Yeah, I think pretty much like 95% predominantly played left guard last year. So, and maybe a little undersized, but he'll come in and play guard if there's an injury there. Because I don't think, I wouldn't imagine they shift Beardo out to guard and have Corte come in at center. I imagine they just put Corte in there. But he'd also, I think, be the, he's obviously the backup center. So I think he'll be that sixth offensive lineman to come in. And yeah, there are injuries, and I think he's probably going to see field time. And I think the future, for the foreseeable future, is on the team.
Good.
Yep.
That is a nice place to be in. I've played with plenty of 6'0" linemen who it's a good place to be in, man. It's a nice check to get.
For sure.
Especially if you have a good starting unit, man. Like usually the 6'0" lineman is a guy who's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I believe it.
You know what I mean? Like very loose, knows his place, making good coin.
Real quickly, how's that compared to the backup quarterback?
Some backup quarterbacks can be a lot of fun too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay, here's one. And you'll love this because he's NCAA infamy. Jordan Lynch.
Yeah.
Northern Illinois.
Oh, yeah.
Had a crazy career there. He was a lot of fun. He was hilarious.
Really? Huh?
Yeah, hilarious, man. He was a good cat, right? Got down with the boys and stuff. Like most backup quarterbacks, they're a lot of fun.
Understood his role. And
yeah,
everything.
totally.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, because there's not as much pressure there either, right?
For sure.
As starting, man, there's so much more response. You have to be perfect. You can't be out in the spotlight partying. You can't be the guy stumbling around at the club like all of us were. It's just you're looked at differently, man.
For sure.
You really are.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of depth, let's talk a little defensive line. Let's talk that unit. So, expectations, ceiling, floor, all that good stuff. Malik Carney, stud. I think Robbie Smith.
Let me just start this right here. Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, no.
I'm sorry, bro.
This is you.
Rude.
This is all you. No, this is you.
I just have 1 point. Expectation, be better.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 4 sacks. That was the most the defensive lineman had last season. And it was a guy who started the season as a backup. So, yeah, I mean, let's not bury the lead. You're absolutely correct. It needs to be better.
Just be better.
It needs to be way better.
Be impactful.
because I think we sit here and we're very, Elks friendly. We're very pro Elks, but we got to put our big J Journal caps on for a second. And we got to say, it's got to be better. It's got to be way better.
This is our rep on the line.
Yeah. It's got to be way better.
Got to be better, man.
Yeah.
Got to be better. This unit, like I just said, be impactful. It fires me up seeing how the defensive line, the front four putting their hand in the dirt, didn't impact the game at all last year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it begins, man. It begins. We talk about Carter O'Donnell and Coulter Woodmansey. It begins up front. In this defensive line, they didn't have the nasty, they didn't have the jam, they didn't have none of it.
Yep.
Be impactful. Be feared.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's said beautifully. I don't think I could have said it any better, obviously, because you played the position.
It's all it comes down to, though. Like, man, D-line, you don't got to be exotic. You don't got to be sweet. You don't got to have good timing. I'm coming to fuck you up, man.
Yeah.
Be mean.
You got to be mean. That's what it is. You have weapons, and these are your weapons, and you have to be violent with these weapons, aggressive, and I'm going to be nastier. That's what it is, man.
And I think, like, if you want to make the argument that they weren't nasty last year, which I think is a fair argument to make, I think they got mean in the form of Malik Carney. And he was here last year. But Jordan Williams at D tackle, I think he's mean as well. Like, I think those two guys, like Malik especially, like Malik is a guy who is, like, mean and he wants to get you. Like, there's no love lost. And so when I look at the defensive line, like, Malik, like, I wouldn't mind seeing a 10-sack season. Now, a 10-sack season is tough to do. I think he had 8 or 8.5 last year.
Yeah, he's always been right around 8.
Well within his wheelhouse. I think it can be done. He is kind of that stud on the defensive line. But then you look at the guys, like Jared, who we, got in here, and Jordan I talked about, and Robbie Smith, he's playing the other side. Noah Taylor, he's probably going to be presumably rotating in as an end, but he can play a little 3-tech as well, probably. And he's like, it's just like, yeah, you got to get your nose in there and just go for it a little bit. Because like last year, it almost got to a point where it wasn't working, and there was a little bit of like they resolved themselves to not being as much as they could be.
It's true, almost.
Yeah.
As I'm just sitting here gazing out into the beautiful blue sky here today, it kind of just hit me. This defensive line, there's not going to be a dude this year. Malik Carney is going to be their leader, but he's a career high, I think, is 8 sacks in there, if you don't mind fact checking me.
It's probably
maybe 9. If he can hit that 10, that'd be cool. But I think it's going to be a bunch of guys who are 3 to 5 sack guys this year. And maybe you have a bunch of depth. 4 or 5 guys have 3 to 5 sacks. And that's kind of what this team is in a sense.
Yeah.
They're not a team where, and we just offense in general, they're not a team that's going to pop with someone, but I think it's going to be a lot of contributors on a smaller level.
Okay.
And I think that's how this team is going to have success. It's not going to be 1 or 2 mad ballers out there.
Yeah.
It's going to be a bunch of guys chopping wood.
So you think like if we have like a good, like let's say we have 4 guys, 5 guys who are in the 3 to 5 sack range. Like, do you think at the end of the season we'll be talking about the defensive line like they were a success? Now, obviously, we need to watch how the game actually plays out on the field. But from a number perspective, like I think if someone on this defensive line, like even Robbie, I hate to keep putting Robbie on the spot here, but when you're getting 270, like I don't think you can have 5 sacks.
Sorry, let me say this is with Malik getting his 8 to 10.
Okay.
So Malik will have his higher number.
Okay.
It's not going to be a 12, 13 big high number. It'll
8
be a
is his
mid
career
number.
high, by the way,
But then after 8 is the career. So yeah, it'll be a mid number like that. And that's not mid. That's really good. But we see guys get teens, and what Matthew Betts have last year.
Yeah, he had a lot.
Right. So 8, 10 mid is mid. But if you have the depth guys and you have your D tackles contributing 3 to 5, you have Robbie Smith with maybe 6, then okay, I could see that. I can see it, but I don't see Malik Carney with his 10, Robbie Smith with 9, another guy with 7. I think that's not how this unit's built.
But by the way, Matthew Betts had 15 last year. He had 18 in 2023.
Dude's a pass rusher.
Pretty good.
Dude's a pass rusher.
Pretty good. Rick, what about you? Thoughts on the defensive line?
Look, I think we know that you win and lose games in the trenches. And I think one of the biggest focuses of this GM this year was that exactly, and worked on the offensive line and worked on the defensive line. You have a really nice addition in Malik Carney. You have a sneaky addition in your number 1. I think he was the first round pick last year, was he not? Newell?
Yep.
Right. So you're adding him when that's kind of not really expected.
And he's been good.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And then you know what? I think the biggest thing is is that these guys go against we've already called them the best offensive line in the league. They go against each other every day. Last year, if your defensive line keeps going against that offensive line, your defensive line is going to have it relatively easy, not really get pushed very much. So when you get to the game, you're coming up against somebody much better, just a much better offensive line than what you're used to practicing against. These guys are going to be going against each other all year long. And we've talked about it before, iron sharpening iron. The more these guys just practice against each other, the more it'll push both of them to be better.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Do we want to talk linebacking room?
Yeah.
So, all right, let's break it down a little bit, because let's do this. Middle linebacker, you have a guy, most outstanding rookie. One of the most, like, CFL.ca did their Monday morning quarterback. They do their top 3 by position, their top 3 linebackers. Nick Anderson wasn't in it, but I was like, okay, because I wanted to write an article. I haven't written it. I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to write it, where I wanted to go basically like, where would the highest ranked Elk be position by position? And for linebackers, I had Nick at 7th. I did do linebackers. I think he could possibly be higher. I don't know if he could be any lower because he had him 7th, but like, that's a pretty good spot to be in. And the point I'm kind of trying to work around to say is, like, you have a tremendously talented guy here. And when you watch him, and we've talked about this on the podcast, we talk about Brock Mogensen and we're like, yeah, he could compete for a spot. Then you watch Nick go out there and you're like, that's, there's a talent gap. Like, he is just better. So you have that perfect. You have the creme de la creme at middle linebacker. You have a guy who wants to do nothing but tackle, who wants to do nothing but find the ball in your will. Yeah,
Jameis
hungry dog.
Jameis Winston style.
Crab legs. And then you got 2 super versatile guys, really 3, but they haven't worked Cordell in at the Sam really at all. So you have 2 really versatile guys who can get out and pass cover, and who are both very good tacklers, and who both like to tackle as well, whether it be Kenny Logan or Jalen Garnes, presumably Kenny. So you got creme de la creme at Mac, and you got a guy at the will in Joel, who all he wants to do is tackle and get involved and flow to the play. And you got a guy in Sam, in Kenny at the Sam, who's as versatile as any at the position, even if maybe like the talent level in all areas isn't the way like in a Darius Pickett's is or something like that. But you have, kind of forgot my train of thought. I forgot the point I was trying to make.
You're talking about the backers.
But just like overall, you have 3 guys who you can point to and say, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And that is such an important spot to be to round out your front
It's a solid unit, man. This is one of the better units on the team, much like the offensive line. I feel very comfortable with this unit. It probably, the 3 units I guess I feel the best about would be the offensive line, the linebacking core, and the secondary, the DBs.
Yep.
Those would be the 3 units where I'm like, oh yeah, I know I got something cooking good there. I mean, of course, rank too at running back, but at these units, there's more people involved.
Exactly.
Rank is an individual position, you would say, right?
Yep. And all of a sudden, we're at like 3 of the 5 units on the football team
you feel really good about.
Yeah,
it's true. So this linebacking man down at Fan Day, Joel, he's deezed.
Oh yeah,
he's jacked. No homo.
For sure.
Like, Joel is good body. Like, you like to see a linebacker like the NFL looking essentially. I think he's primed for a big season. Nick is Nick. If Nick stays healthy, Nick is going to ball out, gobble up tackles. I'm really looking forward to this group, man.
If Joel is the team's defensive player of the year nominee, no one's surprised. No one's surprised.
Yep. Yeah.
I talked about it a little bit because, like, I talked, Justin Rankin, MOP, 1 West All-Star in the receiving group. I don't think there's any reason we can't have a West All-Star or a CFL All-Star out of this linebacking core. And I don't, like, it would take, a lot. Like, it can't just be tackles out of this linebacking group. Like, you're going to need some forced fumbles. You're going to need some sacks. You're going to need some big plays. Probably going to need some picks.
That's what I'm
saying. But, like, if everything breaks right, like, I'm not writing out Nick Anderson as a potential defensive player of the year nominee. Like, he is that talented, I think. And we saw it in the 2024 season. Like, he was defensive rookie of the year, CFL All-Star.
Defensive. He was
rookie. Yeah. Right? Like,
so if he can stay healthy, boy, this linebacking core, if we just think across the league, they're going to be a top 3 linebacking core, those 2.
Oh, for sure.
For Mike and Will.
Like, I just mentioned 2 guys who I was like, don't be surprised if they're, defensive player of the year nominees. Like, that's a pretty, I don't know how many linebacking cores you can look at in the CFL. And again, we're not Ticats Nation. We're not covering them quite as closely, but I don't know how many linebacking cores you can look at in the CFL and say potential defensive player of the year, potential defensive player.
And it's time for Joel too. Like, Joel every year has taken steps, but now you're in year 3. you're really comfortable. Is it year 3? Yeah.
year 3.
Yeah. You're really comfortable with the league and how the flow of CFL ball works. You're a pro. Nothing is new now. I really think Joel, this is a year where Joel really establishes himself. And he's probably, he might be looking to still have NFL aspirations.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to ball out if you're trying to get to the league.
Yeah.
Because that NFL window for Joel now would be closing the older he gets in the CFL.
Yeah. And I don't even want to say no excuses, because it's not like we've been making excuses for Joel the way we did like Yesipuyarvi or something, because it's not that.
No, not at all.
Yeah, it's not.
He's produced.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not no excuses, but it's just like the time is now, young man.
This is the time to really blossom.
Go become JC Sherritt.
Yeah, exactly. Become a perennial all-star for the next 5 years. That's this is that season of life for him.
Yes, absolutely. Rick, what are your thoughts on the linebacker?
Honestly, you guys covered a lot there. I don't know how much more you can add. The fact that you can take guys from your secondary and bring them down and plunk them into your linebackers is probably is a nice little token to have there, I think, right? When you saw how they finished the season, when you heard everybody talking as we've interviewed them throughout the summer or the off season or whatever, these guys are hungry. They want to get back at it. I just want to see them hit the field and see what they can do.
Saw Joel down at Van Day, just a side note.
Yep.
And he comes up to me. I was chatting with Ed. He said, "Damn, Eddie, what you doing? Trying to let these young guys know what's up out here?" Because fellas wearing a small tight tee, so the guns were blazing.
Of course.
And he's like, "Well, you trying to let us know who you are, huh, big dog?"
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I said, "Dang, Joel, no, you're letting me know, buddy. Like up close and personal, he is jacked."
If you were to play a full season this season, what would your stat line be,
bro?
If you had to come off the couch and you're just
like
we'll give you a summer, we'll give you training camp and a summer training.
I don't even want training camp. Just give me
spring of training.
I get hurt in training camp. Just give me the games, man. I don't want to get that soreness. But I couldn't do nothing out there, man.
Really?
No.
Oh man.
No, I couldn't even eat a double team. Just thinking of like these guys are so big, man. I'm walking around at 240 pounds right now.
Yeah.
I played at 285.
Yeah.
Right. That's a huge difference. Yeah. Just thinking of eating a double team or even taking on a David Beard or Coulter Woodmansey, who's 320 and like got their technique down. Oh,
you can play linebacker.
I couldn't run and cut like that, man. And just thinking of how my knees feel, just getting low. I couldn't even get low, man. I'm stiff now. Like I'm stiff. That's one of the things you never wanted to be considered as an athlete was old and stiff. And I am old and stiff now.
So it's not like the thing where they like talk to former NBA players and they're like, "Yeah, I could give you
I'm
15.
not even gonna BS, man. Football's a game where you can't do that. Like I'm not even gonna like sit here and I could get a couple sacks. No, man. Like,
there's no Phillip Rivers in you.
No, man. Like just keeping it a buck.
That's real.
Like I'm stiff, my knees, man. I play with my kids. I tell my wife, like, is this my forever? Like I say that quite often. Is like, is this? And I am diligent with my foam rolling. Maybe part of the reason is because I work out too much. Maybe I work out a little too much and not enough rest days. But I'm on my stretching routine, my foam rolling, my back. I do it all, man. I really do. And if I don't, I'd be a mess. So the body's jacked up, man. Body is jacked up. Much like you, boxing. You know what? Not probably even as bad as me. Like you've been punched a few times, but
for sure. Crazy.
Just that nose.
Yeah.
But you get it.
Yeah.
Your nose is my knees.
Yeah. All right, let's talk a little DB core here, because you know me, I love to talk DBs. I could do a subset Elks Nation podcast.
Let's hear you.
So this is my thing. I've thrown out a lot of, could be West All-Stars, I'm going to go ahead and call my shot now. JJ Ross, Terrell Ford, the CFL West All-Star corners at the end of 2026. I'm calling it now. And that's not to disrespect KJ, who is the team's defensive player of the year nominee. It's not to disrespect Kobe, who was a little nicked up in camp, but I think is wildly underrated just because he's probably not I don't even want to say he's not as good as the other three. He's just talking about him a little less. I just think a little underrated. Chalin at the safety, Royce if he comes back, Kenny if it's a rotation. Like I've said it, I find a way to work it into pretty much every podcast. What an incredibly talented group. I've talked about it ad nauseum. I don't want to keep harping on it. CFL West All-Stars, JJ Ross, Terrell Ford on both corners.
I would say almost bucket. Man, JJ's big too.
Dude, he's bro.
See him in person, bro.
Yes.
Like
Doesn't he
he's
just have prototypical DB size?
He's huge,
Yeah.
man. He's bigger though. He's bigger than the prototypical DB.
And he's long.
Tall, long, and good size. These guys, I'm with you, man. I think that they could both, and we're not being biased because of this nation here. I think they could both be the best corners in the league.
Yes.
And then funnel everything back in from them. So we got Kenny Logan, Jalen. There's so many bodies.
Yeah.
There's so many bodies. It's all about where they play, right?
For sure. And
it's a rotating three, the interior three. How is it going to look?
It's like Phil Jackson's triangle offense between Kenny at the Sam, KJ at defensive half, and Jalen at the
safety. How is it going to look?
Yeah.
Because we know outside you're good. Like they are good. Again, not as a whole a group, but outside, I would put those two guys in that class where you feel like how we were talking a moment ago. Oh, this position group is straight. Those two guys as cornerbacks. Oh, you're straight.
Yep.
They are. Yeah, man, there's a lot of good talent on this team, Dak.
I'm telling you, man.
When you bust it down the way we have, there's a lot of talent.
We're not lying either. I don't think.
No,
we're
bro.
lying.
No.
Like
This isn't fool's gold.
No,
this isn't. I mean, if you look at the cornerbacks, JJ tape doesn't lie, and Terrell has been one of the better cornerbacks in the CFL, the top 3 corner for the past 3 years.
Highest paid DB in the league.
So that's nothing new.
Yep.
Terrell is Terrell. JJ has emerged.
And the other thing I would say is like my eye always kind of drifts towards the DBs, but like I think the guys who people don't even know about, like just in camp, like Ladarius Tennyson, Terez Reed, Javon Bird, Travian Blaylock, like these are all guys who have looked great in camp.
Well said.
Like so, depth, not an issue for me.
Some will be playing specials too.
Yep.
Well said, man.
For sure. Rick, what about you? Thoughts on the DB room?
These guys are close. They're hungry. We've talked to them. You know how much they disliked how last year went, especially like the first third. They're hungry. They're a close group. They want to get back at it. I have full confidence in these guys.
I love it. You guys want to talk a little specials?
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about kickers and punters.
Okay, so I have a story for you.
There we go.
Someone missed a kick. I didn't see who it was. My back was turned, and the ball went through the end zone and smoked an old lady at Fan Day. Like
she go down?
There was a scene. It was a bit of a scene.
Okay.
And you know, footballs, they're hard.
Oh yeah.
So Killam went over, was talking to her. Kicker went over, was talking to her.
You don't know which kicker?
It was he's big.
Oh, I think it would have been Vincent then.
No, was
it?
it?
Oh, it was
Vincent?
Jake Julian.
I think it was Jake. I want to say it's Jake. He looked. I don't. No shade. But he looked a little thick. Not dieseled, but thick, big booty.
Do you remember what number it was?
Oh, no, man.
All right.
Big booty.
Okay.
It wasn't Vincent.
All right,
It would have been Jake.
227.
Wasn't Jesus.
Yeah,
it would have been Jake. Okay.
It would have been Jake for sure. Yeah, it would have been Jake. He was a punter. It was a punter legs.
Okay.
Went over, talked to her. Killam went and talked to her, gave her a signed ball and stuff. The organization did her right, but yeah, it was kind of a bit of a scene.
Yeah.
A specialist though, I'm optimistic for Vincent. I am high on the young kid. Missed a few left. That was, if I recall, he was hooking them left.
Yeah.
Last year?
Last year to start the year, it was always left. And if he can correct himself, and he had a couple of bigger kicks. What was his high last year? 50?
I think he hit from 50. Yep.
I like him. And Killam, he's got an eye for specialists. Being a special teams coordinator for so many decades now, I trust him when it comes to the special teams. I just do.
Yeah, when I was down at practice there, down at camp the other day, I think Vincent hit one from 60 yards. I honestly couldn't tell though, because from where I was up in the box at Clark, I honestly couldn't tell if it hooked just left or not. I think it was like it had the leg. I think he's not. I honestly couldn't tell you. I honestly don't know. But the leg was there. And then Jesus Gomez, he was hitting some from like 40, 45 that looked like they could have gone like 55, 60 as well. Okay. Like getting deep in the back of the end zone. So some good leg strength from the kickers. Jake Julian, yeah, like he had games last year where I unironically thought he was the team's best player, just the way he was able to place the ball and flip the field. So you'd like to see more of that from him. Specials, they're in such a weird spot because like even us, Elks Nation podcast, we sit here and we're like, okay, let's talk about special teams now. they don't get a lot of glory except for when they do. Credit to them, and they also get a lot of heat when something goes wrong. So yeah, tough spot to be. I like Vincent. I'd like to get that percentage up a little bit. He was 78 as a rookie. We got to bump that up to about 85, which is doable. I think Jake Julian's a great punter. Aussie rules football punter. He got good spin on the ball.
Yeah,
he got
that's
good
his
torque
thing.
on
That
it.
touch, try and bury you within the 10.
And then leak in the return game. Like he's just, dude, I'll tell you this. Like, you know, professional athletes are fast. Javon Leake's speed is like a different level, man. Like you watch these guys fly out here and you're like, whoa, those are definitely professional football players. Those are fast guys. Then you watch Javon and it's just like a different level of speed. Like it really is a different level. It's track speed, like you said.
Track. Yeah, high stepper.
Yeah.
Long leg.
Rick, you have any thoughts on the teamers?
Yeah, you know what? When you look at Leak, I think you have probably one of the better returners in the league, at least potentially. So I think you're set there. My only thing has been, I'm pretty sure it was our guy last year, wasn't Blanchard, who you're around 50 yards. They were kind of going for it, where they're like, hey, this really isn't in his range.
You're right, Rick. That was the case, but I always was under the assumption that he had a bomb of a leg.
So he had a 52-yarder last year.
It's pretty
in
good.
week 13. That was his career high. He was 35 of 45, 39 of 40 converts. So that's good.
That's good.
The fact you said he's starting to get him out there 55, 60, that gives me more confidence in this kicker. You need points sometimes, and sometimes that has to be a field goal, and sometimes it has to be a 54-yarder. That's just the way the game goes. And you need to have a guy there who has the opportunity to do it, that if you're at a 53, you're not going, oh shit, now we're going 3rd and 7, we have to go for it, or even punt to that matter. I need a guy who can go out there and kick. So if you say he's getting them out there like 55, 60, as long as the accuracy is good, he's got the leg for it, then I'm all for it.
I like it. All right, let's talk about this one before we do a full kind of prediction on the Elks season. Coaching staff, where do you guys come out on this? Synopsis, ceiling, floor, expectation.
Maximic, I'm going to hope that he is a little more aggressive. I hope that it's not a Dick and Dunk type version of offense. I'm very optimistic for the defense under JC Sherritt. We saw how they closed out the season last year. I think they're going to hit the ground running. Special teams, it's going to be now under Des Catelier. So Killam is going to step back. He's still going to have his fingerprints on it.
You just can't help himself, probably.
No, for sure not. That's what he does. That's who he is. But as a whole, the staff is going to take a step forward, in my opinion. As a whole, this organization will take a step forward. I believe in their plan. It's all about the process. The results matter, but it's not all about how you get to the end result. It's the process. It is all about how you get to the end result. Check me. It's the process. Yep. And I believe in this process. I believe in Ed Hervey. I believe in Chris Morris. I believe in Killam. And then trickle on down, I believe in JC. I believe in Aaron Grimes, because when the players
I believe in Aaron Grimes.
When the players bought in, there was success. You know, so I believe. I played with these guys. I know what they're selling. And what they're selling is the truth.
Yep.
So when it all clicks, I have full confidence.
Yeah, like you make a great point. I think it's definitely going to be forward. You talk about, I think when we talk about the offensive coordinator, some people want to see the playbook opened up a little bit more, things like that. I'm not sure if the personnel is necessarily conducive to that, but I do think there will be flow. There will be consistency. I think people will more often than not come away being like, hey, that might not have been the most exciting play in the world, but that was the right play in the right situation. And I think that's something you can kind of hang your hat on for what Jordan's going to do as the OC. JC is a DC, like even if you want to put it on personnel from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, like I think JC also took a jump, and it was his first year as a DC at the pro level. Like there's going to be, bumps and bruises along the way, but I think just incredible mind for the game. Like we talked about it. He won defensive player of the year as like a 5'8" Mac. Like you have to have an unbelievable IQ for the game. And I think he's relayed that onto the personnel, onto the players. So I have no issue there. Coach Killam is a head coach. I really like Coach Killam. I think he's a good leader of men. I think he's a good X's and O's guys. Like I think he's what you want in the position. I think he absolutely fits the organizational view that kind of comes from Ed and Coach Chris. I think he's a great guy to have at the helm in that sense. So I have nothing but confidence in this coaching staff. And I know, like, I think, again, some people may kind of look at it and be like, man, we had the same record last year as an interim coach who didn't even get an interview. Like we had point to this defensive problem, point to this offensive problem, point to these, game point to these decisions made in game that come down to the head coach that you didn't love. You're going to see that kind of everywhere across the league. I think as a whole, this coaching staff is absolutely going to take a step forward. I think they're absolutely in a great spot. And that's not even talking about some of these position coaches. You got Jason Tucker working with the wide receivers. Hey, that must be nice. You got Aaron Grimes working with the DBs. Hey, that's pretty cool. Like, you just have the right people in every area, and I think it's going to show this season.
It is. Yeah, the right people, first and foremost.
Rick?
Honestly, man, the only area I'd be a little bit worried about is Max Simic, but I do think when you have that better offensive line in front of him, he's got his quarterback from game one, from all through camp and last year. I think there's a lot of learning that went on through there, and I see them taking a big step forward. That defense side of the ball, we saw what they were last year. They got better with every game, and those guys want it. Those guys are going to do something good this year. And when you look just into the building and the way you break down from Chris down to Ed down to Killam, I don't think you really ask for a lot more for this organization right now.
I love it. All right, gentlemen. I mean, talk me through it. What's the record? What does the season look like?
First of all, I will say the betting record is 7.5 wins.
There we go. I love that you brought that up. So I'm obviously smashing that over.
Plus 100.
That's free money. I hope. Oh my goodness. Famous last words. I'm smashing that over 7.5. And I talked about this, Eddie, one day when you were in Mexico. I don't think the bookmakers have quite caught up to the CFL. I don't think they quite understand it the way they do other leagues. And so I think that 7.5 line is I'm chomping at the bit to bet that.
I would agree.
I'm probably going to bet that as I head down to the bathroom after this show. 7.5, way too low, smashing the over.
For sure. I think they're going to hit 11 wins.
Look, if you think 11 wins, that's playoffs, right? And once you get in the playoffs, anybody can win. So if we're talking about it, you guys, and I don't understand at all. So I'll go through all the teams just because.
Yes, please.
Montreal plus 300 to win it all. BC plus 375. Riders plus 650. Hamilton plus 750. Winnipeg plus 800. Calgary plus 900. Argos plus 1,000. Red Blacks plus 1,000. Everybody's relatively close there. We're plus 1,800. Tell me what crazy about this team is that far back from Ottawa, from Toronto.
No.
I don't get how we are that far back.
Doesn't make sense.
Oh, that's crazy.
So that will be a little
ball. Like that doesn't make sense. That Ottawa would be high. They had the number one draft pick,
dude. So
they did have a good free agency, but I agree. Like
I have been watching this all off season, and before the draft, before UFA season, we were plus 1,500. So somehow through who we signed, we've gotten worse odds.
Ottawa is not a good team, not a good roster.
Toronto as well.
Coming off
depending
of
what they do.
Ottawa's coming off of. They've been mediocre for 5 years.
And it's funny. Again, so like this exact site, I'm going off Bet365 right now. They are telling me that Calgary's win total is 8.5. And then their Stanley Cup, their Grey Cup chances are plus 900. Where's the correlation here?
One win better, and they have plus 900 better odds. Like that's insane. This is what I think. Again, to throw it back to the books and the odds makers, I just think they look at like, hey, a returning cast of a 7-11 team, a team that hasn't had a winning record since 2017, hasn't made the playoffs since 2019. It wasn't great last year. It started bad. It's the same core coming back. And I think they really hitched their betting wagon to that without understanding everything else that kind of has gone into it and how the team has kind of ascended. So yeah,
the human nature of where the team is.
Plus 1,800 is like a ridiculously bad line in my mind. Yeah, that's an auto bet. But Rick, could we also quickly, before we wrap up with Elks record and playoff finishes, things like that, could we do the rest of the over and unders for the league?
Yeah, for which? For the
regular season every team. Yeah, every team.
All right, so we will start at the bottom. That is us at 7.5. Also
taking the over, obviously.
The Argos at 7.5,
and they were plus 800 better odds. Now, granted, the East is weaker. To be fair, the East is weaker. That plays into it. But I would take the under on the Argos 7.5.
And then for 8.5, you have the Stampeders at plus 105, the Ticats 8.5 at minus 140, the Red Blacks 8.5 at minus 105, and that's your 8.5s. You got the Blue Bombers 9.5 minus 150, Riders 9.5 minus 135, And then you have your top two. You've got the Lions 10.5 minus 110, and you have the Alouettes 10.5 minus 130.
I'd probably take the over on both of those two.
Mhm.
To be fair,
Mhm.
those two deserve to have the best betting odds as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, overall, I don't like it. I don't think the books are there, but the CFL
Good.
Nope, is what it is. Let's wrap this one up. So Eddie, you're saying 11-7. Give me a playoff finish.
Well, they'll get, I could see them host a home playoff game. And I could, it's not far-fetched to see them win a round. And then from there, it's bonus.
Man, it's crazy how aligned we are. I'm saying 11-7, and they're in the Western Final.
Okay. So there you go.
11-7 and the top 4 team in the playoffs.
12-6 and Western Final, if not going on. I think the way
big
this
record,
team got
boy.
better all throughout last year, I see them doing the exact same thing again this year. They're being underestimated because what's happened over the last 5, 6, 7, 8, however long it's been now.
The long rot.
Long while.
This team wants it. This team wants it bad. They're going to be a really close knit family out there. I see them doing some damage.
I love it. I think this was pretty good.
It's a good day today.
I think this was a
lot of
good
fun today.
season preview. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to be
Thorough.
missing the next 4. I also dropped that news on Eddie and Rick this morning as well. So
Yeah.
my bad on that
That's
one.
savagery, bro.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to Italy in 2 days. All right.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. My fault.
Terrible
So-
time. Just don't do that again.
I won't be here for a little bit. I'll be back. I'll definitely be back because I think, like I said, we'll be kind of reverting to the Elks Central.
Yeah,
becomes
when do
the
you get
post-game
back, though?
show? The night of the 4th. So like,
So we won't have a show that one anyways because it'll be the day after
Yeah,
on the 5th.
yeah,
So,
so
you won't. That's not a. Yeah,
that's-
you'll be fine. You
so I'll only miss 3.
2 Mondays and a Friday.
Yeah, I'll only miss 3, and I'll be back
Enjoy
for
yourself,
the,
brother.
for the I'll be back for the first game of the regular season's post game show. Which, by the way, real quick, I think you got to win that one big.
I'm with
Get
you.
some interest in that home openers because you go into a bye, then there's a home opener against Montreal. I think you got to win that Ottawa game.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Have a pizza for me, bro.
I almost didn't get that reference. I was like, what did he say, bro? But yeah, hey, I will. No, I got you.
Have a slice for me in Italy.
All right, this has been dope. Thank you so much for tuning in. Eddie and Rick back on Monday. Maybe they'll bring in a very special guest. I don't know. I won't be here. Thank you for
Hope
listening.
You don't get replaced.
Thank you for listening. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.